Hey guys, welcome back to the day 24 of Advent of Cybers 2025. In this video, we are going to learn about exploitation with cURL, Hoperation Eggsploit. The evil Easter bunnies operate a web control panel that holds the wormhole open. Using cURL, identify the exploit, send the required request, and shut the wormhole once and for all. Yeah, this is an easy room, and for this room, you have to start the attack box and you have to start the virtual machine today. So let me start both, and in some scenarios, it is best to use the on open VPN. That seems to be pretty good. So I'm just going to use that. I'm just using sudo open VPN and the configuration file. I think I just deleted. So let me download that. If you don't download the configuration file, you can just pretty much download from in the manage account option. You do have an option called VMN VPN settings where you will be able to download your configuration. So you can just download the configuration. So after that, you can just use the sudo open VPN command to connect to that particular configuration. Once it's done, enter your password. That's it. You just connected. Okay, I just connected. So this seems to be starting. I'm just expanding this into a new screen. Okay, so here is the story. According to Blue Team Intel, the wormhole is held open by a control panel on the Evil Bunny's web server. The team must shut it down first to cut off the reinforcements before facing the King malware. However, the terminal they have is bare, no burp suite, no browser, just a command prompt. But that's fine. The team will use the command line and curl to speak HTTP directly, send requests, read response, and find the endpoints that shut the portal. So basically, in some scenarios, you don't have access to burp suite or any other tools. You have to use the command line interface. So that's why in cybersecurity and ethical hacking, you just need to learn the CLI, which is the command line interface. Yeah, for this room, you have the learning objectives where you will understand that HTTP requests and responses are at a high level, and you are going to use the curl utility, and some of the other options are available. So I'm just in this time you do have 3 tasks, right? So once you start that, you can just click here, and now we can read the HTTP request just using curl. So applications like your browsers communicate with the servers using HTTP, which is the hypertext transfer protocol. Think of HTTP as the language for asking a server for resources like pages, images, JSON data, and getting answers back. So if you want to access a website, your browser sends an HTTP request to the web server. If the request is valid, the server replies with an HTTP response that contains the data needed to display the website. So in the absence of a browser, you can still speak of HTTP directly from the command line. The simplest way is with curl. Yeah, curl is a command line tool for crafting HTTP requests and viewing raw responses. It's ideal when you need precision or when GUI tools aren't available. So that's why we are going to use the curl utility. So curl and this particular URL. So let me open a new terminal, and using that, here it is. Welcome to the curl practice server. Try sending a post request to /post .php. So in the meantime, let me open this and access denied. Please use the terminal is what is shown. So you don't have access like in a normal scenario you will access using the browser, right? But you don't have access if you use this browser. You only have access when you use the curl utility. Okay, so I'm just using my own VM instead of the attack box. Okay, you can just use the one that you would like to use. So anyways, this is how you use the post request by specifying the -x flag. You can just change the request method to post, and -d for authenticating as the username user and the password user. So this is how we are going to use. So here you can see try sending a post request to post.php. So we are just moving to the post.php, and the request is method is post, and we are authenticating with the username and the password. Unfortunately, these are some of the invalid credentials. So -x post tells the curl to use the post method. -d defines the data we are sending in the body of the request. The data will send in the URL encoded format. So which is the same as what HTML forms use. If the application accepts additional fields like a login button or CSRF token, they can be included too. Okay, so this is some sample, like if it has a submit button, you can just use this. So let's try to use this. So still it's an invalid credential. So by basically you are using so if you have any submit button, then you can just use this command to view exactly what the server returns, including headers and potential redirects. Add the -i flag like that we added here, right? So this -i flag is basically used to view view exactly what the server returns, including headers and potential redirects. Here it is. You can see when you included the -i flag, you will be able to see the date, server, content length, etc. amount of informations. So if the site responds with a set cookie header, that's a good sign. If you are getting any set cookie, no, there is no good sign here. It means you are successfully logged in or at least triggered a session. Using cookies and session. Once you log in, web application use cookies or keep your section active. Like when you make another request with your browser, the cookie gets sent automatically but with curl, you need to handle it yourself. You can do this in 2 steps, save the cookies. Like you can use curl -c and saving the cookies to cookies.txt file, and the username that we are specifying here is admin, and the password here also admin, and we are moving to the session.php URL. Here it is. So yeah, it says that it's invalid credentials. So the -c option writes any cookies received from the server into a file called cookies.txt. In this case, you'll often see a session cookie like php session id. So let's enter ls, and here it is, our cookies.txt. Let's get that. Here you can see this seems to be a PHP session ID. So this file was generated by libcurl, edit at your own risk. We were able to get the cookie, right? So by just providing a credentials like an admin password, which is an invalid credential, we were able to get the cookie from the session.php, right? So now what we can do is use these cookies to gain access to that particular web page. Like we are only using cookies.txt, which is our cookie, right, to this particular URL. As you can see, it's saying that please log in first by posting to this page. This is what it says. Like we just specify the -b option tells the curl to send the saved cookies in the next request, just like a browser would. This is exactly how session replay testing works. By replying valid cookies in separate request. By -b, you can just specify the cookie text using the -b flag. Right, automating logging and performing brute force using curl. We are using curl to perform brute force attack. Start by creating a file. Like we can just create a file like this and save this as passwords.txt. So I'm just using the nano text editor, passwords.txt, spacing all, control X. Yeah, I just saved that. Now what we can do, then create a simple bash loop called loop.sh. So let me copy this and save this as loop.sh to try each password against the brute force.php and copy paste the following code inside. So let's save this as loop.sh, nano loop.sh, pasting this code. And I'm just saving this as control X, Y. That's it. Now you can use give the execute permission by issuing the chmod command like +X for execute permission, giving loop.sh an execute permission, then executing that. Here it is. You can see trying password admin123 pass wd password let me in secret pass, and we were able to find the password, and the password is secret pass. Right now we have the credentials, right? So now we can use those credentials to gain access, right? So you can see bypassing user agent checks. Some applications block curl by checking the user agent header. For example, the server may reject a request with a user agent, right? So you can just use the -a flag to specify a custom user agent, right? So you can just specify -a to specify a custom user agent using this curl utility. Here is it. Welcome internal computer, right? So this is how you basically use that. So to confirm the check, you can just use the -i. Here it is. Only internal computer user agents are allowed, right? So you can just use this also. Still, welcome internal computer, right? So when you specify the user agent, then only it will work. Otherwise, it don't work. So that's something called user agent. And you do have a bonus mission. This you can just complete yourself. So this section is an optional and applies only to the final bonus question. This section do not apply to regular questions. Feel free to skip it and proceed with regular questions if you don't need to, don't indeed to accept. attempted. So before the final battle can begin, the wormhole must be closed to stop enemy reinforcements. The evil Easter Bunny's operate a web control panel that holds it up. So holds it open. The blue team must identify endpoints, authenticate, and obtain the operator token, and call the close operation. Hint: you can use the rocket.txt when brute forcing for the password. Only for the bonus mission, the pin is between 4,000 to 5,000. So we can just perform this by yourself, which may take some time. So let's answer to these questions. Like, make a post request to the post.php with the username admin and the password admin. What is the flag you receive? So we can make a post request to post.php, right? So the command for that will be available here. This is the command. So our task is to make a post request to post.php endpoint with the username admin and password admin. So here we have to change some of these. Here is our command, and we have to change the username as admin and the password as admin. So let me change that. Changing the username as admin and the password as admin. Here it is. Login successful. We were able to get the flag. Curl post success. That's it. So make a request to the cookie.php endpoint with the username admin and password admin, and save the cookie. Reuse that saved cookie at the same endpoint. What is the flag you received? So you have to make a request to cookie.php endpoint with the username and password admin to save the cookie. So for cookie, you will be able to get some cookie related content here. Here is it. Here we have to change some of this. Instead of saving this as cookies.txt, we can just save this as coo.txt, and the username and password is admin, and we have to make the request to cookie.php endpoint. Okay, here it will be in the session.php. Let me change that to cookie.php. That's it. Now login was successful, cookie set. So now we can see the coo.txt is here, and you can just use that cookie to gain access, right, with the same endpoint. Like, you can just use the curl -b coo.txt, and what we can do is to specify the URL to which is here. Yeah, welcome back admin. So we were able to get the cookie flag, right? We were able to gain access using the cookie value, right? So that's something this means. So after doing the brute force on the brute force.php endpoint, what is the password for of the admin user? So we were able to get the password, right? So make sure to use the custom passwords.html we created before. So previously we used this, right? And the password is secret pass, which will be available somewhere here. Here it is. So we can see once we executed the loop.sh, and we were able to get the password as secret pass. That's what they are asking for. Make a request to the agent.php endpoint with the user agent tbfc. So what is the flag you receive? So yeah, let's use this, and we have to change some of this. We have to make a request to the agent.php endpoint, and here is our internal computer. So this is basically our user agent. We can just change that to tbfc. Here it is, and we were able to get the flag user agent filter bypassed. So this is how you basically use the curl utility, and that's pretty much about it, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, guys. Once you solve this bonus question, that's the one that I'm also giving to you. You can just solve and get the final flag, guys. So in the conclusion, the final battle commences with the wormhole closed. Kim Malhare no longer had access to his reinforcement. So MC Skitty looked to her fellow Werewolf town members. The king would only be vulnerable for a moment. The time to strike was now. Charge! MC Skitty exclaimed. So you can just read this story, guys. We are at the end. MC Skitty seized the moment and ran into the king throne room, where she found King Malhead throwing a tantrum, where are my reinforcements. They are not coming my head. I'm secretly affirmed. It's over. Farewell is ours. Now let's see how you like being captured now. You can just read that by yourself, guys. Congratulations on finishing the Advent of Cyber and saving the day. From all of us at TryHackMe, have a Merry Sockmas and a Happy New Year. I just completed Advent of Cyber 2025. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the entire series of Advent of Cyber by Cyberark. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one with the next video. Bye bye.